Hello and welcome to a team update for the 1st of February. Didn't get one in January, just pretty much come back fresh from a Tasmania trip. What a bloody road trip it was, honestly. We did 2,257 kilometres, I'm pretty sure, in 12 days. So it was a pretty wild sort of journey. I absolutely enjoyed every bit of it. It was tough, but it was bloody well worth it. Did have a couple of negative results though. Before I get into it, I may as well touch on my BBL rank. So I missed lockout twice. I didn't see any teams staying. Tasmanians will know that it is quite isolated in terms of, well, towns being close to each other. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, you got no service, no bars or anything. So I did miss out on the teams, on the doubles, on who's playing, who wasn't. At one point, I had bloody Conley captain and then Short VC when they played each other. Just stuff like that. Got absolutely stitched up. Had Lynn on field when he wasn't playing. So, yeah, this is my final season rank, 2,457, top 4% overall. So that's pretty bloody ordinary, but that is the reason for that. We've gone so well. To think that we're ranked 156 at one stage is quite mind-numbing to see how bad it's turned, but that's what happens when you miss lockout, and yeah, I just wasn't all over it. But all positives now. We're turning our attention purely to AFL Supercoach now. I'm so excited. I can't keep away from my team at the moment. I've been chopping and changing a lot of things, and this is what we're running with. So I've decided to play quite a risky brand of Supercoach this year, and the reason for that is, well, when you're gifted 36 trades, I think we can afford to sort of, well, let's scrap the guns and rookies approach and play a more aggressive type of game. So, yeah, I'll run you through the team on exactly what we're looking like. Well, not long until round one now, 6 weeks or something like that. So, very, very excited. So, D1 for this year at the moment is Tom Stewart, and it's always been Tom Stewart. He hasn't really left my side, honestly. I think it's a toss-up between he and Dawson. Dawson's a really good option. He's the one that I think I'm missing out on, if I'm honest. I don't think he'll go below 90 at all, but I don't think he'll go above 120. I just think he'll be, every week it'll be like 110 almost. I just think he's going to be really nice, safe as houses, durable pick. But Tom Stewart, I'm expecting him. I think his unders actually for what he can do when he plays games at the MCG and at GMHBA. I think he's capable of a 160, and I don't care if he goes injured. I don't care if he gets suspended or whatever. We've got 36 trades, so I'm happy to just ride it out until it does crash and burn. Hopefully it doesn't, but at the moment, I think Tom Stewart's by far the best defender in the comp, and I'm locking him in at the moment. Will John Dawson be a D2 at some stage? Maybe. We'll wait and see, but at the moment, quite outrageous. It is Christian Salem, so this was a really interesting one. I love his price, honestly. He scored a 5 in round 1 against the Dogs, missed a lot of the season, come back. I think Bowie sort of interrupted his role a little bit. I don't know how bad that is, though, but when you look back to 2021, the season that he has, to think that he was priced over 550k, I think the value is just really nice. And I'm taking advantage of the value that we've got this year. And I hope Salem, well, he's not going to get many kickouts. Obviously, Stephen May will have first dibs on those, but I think you'll get his fair share and a few cheap possessions off half-back. Only really needs to average 70 to 80 for me, and I'd be pretty bloody happy with that considering how cheap we got him for. He'd probably be one of the first people to leave my team once we accumulate some money. I'm not that bullish on the selection, but I really don't mind the value. It could alternate between he and Bose. I'm not quite sure. As I say, we just have to wait and see what we decide to do. Elliot Yeo, so I like this one. I've warmed up to him a little bit. I think it's another one of those defensive picks. His ownership is in the mid-30s, and that's a lot higher than I thought. So if he doesn't really work out, I think you're not going to get hurt too bad. The value is just amazing. We know what he can do. Off half-back too, he can average well into the 110s. Not that he will, I don't think, but he has in previous All-Australian years, and yeah, I just hope that he can stay on the park more than anything. But look, I think we've been given a little bit of a gift this year in terms of mid-price madness, and I think there's a fair bit of mid-price madness to sort of go around. I remember those 200k type picks in the forward line last year, and most of them turned out to be really solid in the end, and they were the guys that got you up in the ranks. So I think that a really similar approach to 2023 for me in doing so, and utilising the mid-prices over me fielding a rookie instead. So I think that is the tactic this year. Again, 36 trades, way too generous. If it was up to me, I would have 25, and just I feel like it sort of takes away the strategy-wise of Supercoach. I feel like anyone can win it now, but that's another sort of story. Goda, I did do a rookie review on him. Go check that out. I uploaded that like a month ago or something. The only rookie review I've done so far, considering I've been away, but I am pretty hyped on him, and Goda's not going anywhere for my team unless he's not named round one. It is as simple as that. Jimby, he's pushing for a round one selection. I'm hearing really good reports at training, just doing really nice things. I think he will get a little bit of midfield time, maybe plays a role off half-back with the likes of Elliot Yeo. We'll wait and see there, but Jimmy, a really popular rookie, and he should be 100% clearly right up there for selection coming round one, and let's hope he is named. We've got Connor McKenna. I don't really need to discuss this one that much. I think he plays, and he doesn't really need to average too much for him to succeed, and he should be in a lot more teams than he is at the moment. I think he's sort of mid-30s, so I am surprised by that, but I really do like McKenna as a selection. And on the bench, we've got Wilmot. So Wilmot's been tearing it up at training lately. We've been lucky here. I think everyone should have him. I think he's 40% ownership because, well, he didn't really register a game in the home and away series last year, home and away season, but he did play in the final series and played quite well. So I think he's really pushing for selection of halfback coming round one. So if he is, he's one that I really will be umming whether or not I field him or not. That's a bloody absurd thing to think, well, is he going to be on the bench or not? I'm not quite sure, but I'm almost locking him in for round one. I was talking to DR for quite a long time last night. Shout out to him, buddy. He's doing good things. Hopefully he has another good season. We've also decided to do a bit of a sort of team preview on his channel and get the Supercoach Saw play up and run this year. So it's sort of a couple of things we'll touch on while I'm talking about him. But he does reckon that Wilmot is quite a push for round one, so that's a good thing to hear. And Cowan's there; he's a really nice selection. I think he's a first pick in last year's draft as a general defender, and I think the Tasmanian local pride will get a little bit of a run in that back line, especially if Doherty's pushing for a midfield spot. I think he'll be one of those guys that fills in that hole. So he should be a really popular rookie. It's fair to say. Yeah, midfielders. So going all out this year, I don't care. I'm paying up for these absolute guns. I did have Laird in my team last night, actually, but then I heard Darcy Cameron's had a bit of I think it was a hamstring complaint earlier today. Not for me. That's enough for me. I'm a bit scared. I was already iffy on him, so I've made a couple adjustments, as you'll see later on. But as a result, couldn't quite afford Laird anymore, so we just, we turned him into Tom Green, which I will touch on, obviously, but Clayton Oliver, I think everybody should pick Oliver every single year. He just has the ability to hurt you every single week. I think if he didn't have Petrarca run around next to him in that midfield, he would be a Brownlow medalist. I think he definitely could have won it last year. If it wasn't for the dynamic duo, that's all I really need to say on Oliver. I think he's an outrageous player and by far the easiest VCC option every single week, and should be pretty consistent, doesn't let you down too much, and he's just a pig. There's no better way to say it. Piggy Oliver, we absolutely love this bloke. Another interesting one, Lachie Neale. I think the Brisbane Lions have convinced me to pick him. I put a tweet up obviously the other day saying Brisbane Lions supporters or whatever, should I pick Lachie Neale? I think he's made his way into my team. I just love the fact that, yes, he's overpriced. Yes, Dunkley's in the team. I know it's an interesting one. Spills, why are you paying up $676K for a bloke that could be impacted by role? Well, he probably will cop tags as well, but he beats the shit out of teams early. I don't think teams are going to tag on him. I don't think his fixture's that difficult. I reckon Dunkley might even take a little bit of pressure off him. Those two are going to be the main men in that midfield, and then that M3 at Brisbane will sort of alternate between Ashcroft and McCluggage and those types of blokes. So I just think those two are going to run their own show, and they're going to beat up on a lot of teams and stat pad the shit off each other. So it's going to be quite interesting to watch, and I'm bloody looking forward to almost locking in both of them. So, and I like Neil as a bit of a pod. He's in less than 20% of teams. I think it's 18. I could be wrong there. But look, I'm backing him in. I think he's been overlooked this year, and I don't see why he can't keep up the bloody great form he's been in for the last bloody 3 or 4 years. He's been an absolute stud of a Supercoach selection, and bit almost Brisbane biased because I do like Brisbane. I've got 5 Brisbane players in my team at the moment, and I think that speaks for itself. I'm looking forward to going to a lot of games with DR and cheering on these big 5 players because, they're a very likeable team, and I do like Lachie Neale, and I'm picking the Chalky man. Absolutely love him, and he will be my M2 at this point in time unless anything else changes. Bonampally and McRae. So I like these two. I really do. I did watch Chizo's video earlier today on my lunch break, so shout out to him. Really like your team. Got a little bit of the Salem pick off him as well. I've already sort of had Salem before then, but then seeing that sort of gave me more reason to stick fat with the selection, and knowing that there's another really experienced Supercoach that's rolling the dice on him has given me a little bit more closure in that selection. But yeah, he did touch on these two, and I think Bonampally and McRae are going to be impacted very nicely without Dunkley in the team. I think it's quite obvious that they're going to be the clear top 2 midfielders alongside Liberatore at the Dogs. I think Bailey Smith will play predominantly on the wing. So, look, I think McRae probably plays a little bit more wing. I think he's definitely underpriced. People are overlooking him as well, but I like his price. And Bonampally, I reckon he's going to absolutely dominate this year. Without Dunkley, we know what he can do. We know what he can average. He's amazing. And there was a little bit of a cheeky dig by Dunkley yesterday in an interview saying that he's looking forward to playing for an even better midfield, which it's a bit of a stab at the Bulldogs. So I did read George's tweet saying that, he reckons that Bonampally is going to absolutely tear up on the Lions come round 3. So that's all the more reason for me to lock in these two blokes, and I'm hoping for a round 3 shootout between what I reckon are the 2 best midfielders in the comp. So yeah, I love these big 4 and hopefully big 5. So Tom Green, this is the hype pick. This is the really sort of hopefully breaks out and becomes a top 8 type pick. That's the only thing stopping me from picking Tom Green. Yes, I think he's definitely capable of being top 15, but I don't really want that 109 average at M8. I want someone that's going to really break out. So he's one that I'm definitely going to be watching, and if he's not really performing over the practice games, he might get the chop for somebody else. I'm not quite sure yet. But at the moment, I mean, we've seen the photos of what he looks like. He's a bit like a brick shithouse. So yeah, I love Tom Green, and he starts the years really well. We saw what he did last year come early. That game, I remember it like it was yesterday against the Sydney Swans, round 1. He just beat up on them. Did get a little bit tired at the end of the season, but I think another pre-season under his belt will help his case there. So that's why I'm picking Tom Green. And I think like Neil, those two will just go berserk early days, and that's sort of what I want to do, is just get out of the blocks early. So I'm happy to sort of lock in these big 5 for now. If anything else changes, Hopper, I don't need to touch on him. He's by far probably the best mid-pricer in the comp. Going to get midfield opportunity. I think he should be in everybody's team. And Ashcroft as well. So he has an average of 157 in the TAC Cup, and I think it lurks around the 120s in VFL level. Lions basically saying that if he was available for selection last year, he'd be best 22 easily, and I think he's definitely going to crack his way into that midfield and be that 3rd midfielder with a bit of rotations as well. So I like Ashcroft, and I think he's going to be a star of the future. Really handy father-son for the Lions. And Will Phillips too. Obviously had a pretty shit run with glandular fever, but last last, I think it was an intra-club practice match. He did play basically whole game through the midfield and did quite well. So, yeah, hearing good reports about him too. And the bench, I think Baker should get a spot on the wing. Dowling, inside, outside midfield, hopefully gets an opportunity. And Drury has a roll-off half-back at the Kangaroos. So, at that price, I'm hoping to take the punt on him and maybe plays a few games here and there. I should never field him at all. So, he's just a little bit of a hype selection. So, let's get to the sort of the sticky end of the team. And the stickiest of, what am I trying to say, positions and selections for this year, I think of the Rucks. What an absolute horror show it's been. Set and forget for me. I know that's a weird one. I did have Darcy Cameron, but injury reports coming in. Tim English with his abductor. He's going to miss a week or two pre-season. Definitely play round one. But these little niggles coming in, just doesn't sit well with me. So I reckon Wits. If this doesn't work out, I've got the money to sort of do whatever I want because he's probably one of the most expensive ruckmen in the comp. Definitely, I think he's R2 or 3. So, I like this pick. I think he's safe. I don't think he has too much upside in terms of his price. I don't think he has any value whatsoever. But I think he has the scope to, well, not let you down. Stay on the park, give you a few consistent scores. Did drop off a little bit at the end of the season, so I'm hoping that he can continue on what was some really good form at the start of 2022. So, at the moment, I like Wits as a selection. I just think he's safe. And that's in the ruck line. I'm happy to take risks everywhere else this year, the mid prices and the injury proneness with the 36 trades that we have. But in the rucks, look, it's so iffy. I just think Wits is that guy who should just be consistent and should play pretty much every single game. I hope so. Run with him at the moment. And Marshall, well, he's just been dominating. I think he's the most owned ruckman behind Madden as a loophole. So, yeah, this is what I'm running with at the moment. Could change. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I think set and forget for me. Could almost be set and regret. But, look, this is what we're going to do. So, pretty happy with the rucks anyway. So, forward line, Dunkley. If you don't have Dunkley in 2023, you're going to lose. I'm sorry. I know his ownership's in the 60% range, but if you're not picking him for whatever reason, he will make you pay. And he will not have forward DPP next year in 2024. Absolutely no doubt about that. He's going to be the man. I think he's going to average anywhere from 115 to 120. That's outrageous. It's a big call, but he will get the opportunity. And I'll tell you what, he's going to do absolute wonders for the Lions, who personally I think are almost premiership favourites at this point. So, yeah, Dunkley's going to dominate. Rosie, this is an interesting one. If anyone had to go on the forward line, it'd probably be him for Cornelio. I'm not really sure on which one I want to go with. I can't really afford Cornelio. I do love the idea of picking a very fit and healthy Stephen Cornelio without Hopper and Taranto on the team. I think that really does make points a lot easier for him, but yeah, it's one of those things. I think Rosie's upside was really good. Second half of the year was almost a pure midfield, and his average went right up, so there's plenty of value there. So at the moment, it's Rosie, but I can understand why you'll pick Cornelio over him. Taranto, 50% of teams for a reason. The value is exquisite. Yes, his ball use isn't that great, but he will be 100% in the midfield at the Tigers. There's no doubt about that, and I'm looking forward to seeing him have a really good season, and he'll be a fun player to own because everyone's going to have him. Massive hype selection, and rightly so. So, yeah, we love Timmy Taranto. So, Flanders, his VFL numbers are, well, they're superb, aren't they? Will he play midfield for Gold Coast in the ones? Well, hopefully. I mean, they've been talking him up a fair bit, and, yeah, all reports he's dominating pre-season. I think he's that 200k range player, like your Will Brodie types, that are going to just come in and have an influence. I hope he can make 150k. I just think he'll be a nice on-field option. I'm more than happy to field him over a forward rookie, like a Ben King or a who's the other guy? Buddy, can't remember. But yeah, there's still a fair few viable options down forward. Oscar Allen, that's the one. So I think he's also a good selection, but maybe doesn't play much ruck. That's going to be another discussion. No Oscar Allen for me at the moment, but I can see why you would pick him. Toby McLean, he should be pretty highly owned as well. I think he's the top 3 most owned players in the comp. The value is so good. I mean, he was a premium in 2018, so yeah, that just speaks for itself. Rookie price, honestly. And Josh Bruce, Jack, bloody tongue twisted that one. I'm not really sure. Out of form, still in holiday mode, I reckon. It's fair to say, I haven't done a video in quite a while, and I'm still a little bit flat. I haven't recovered completely from my BBL rank. Very shattered about that. But yeah, Bruce, he's playing a roll down halfback. So he was a defender in his junior years, and I think he's playing an intercept defence role. So if he can cement himself a spot down there at 161k, I'm expecting him to produce some very nice numbers. And yeah, he's a highly talented player. Was always a gun forward, just had his sort of moments last year. He struggled at the level, and I think the role change is quite relatable. You know, I was a forward for a lot of years, just couldn't get around the ball. Now I play halfback, and I bloody love it. So hopefully Bruce can get the same sort of satisfaction I can with my footy, and more importantly, be a nice scoring F6 for us. So yeah, that's about it. And the forward line, so Fergus Green, I think clear Gunston replacement. He should play games. Bendigo boy, Sandhurst boy in particular, so shout out to him. Any Sandhurst players or supporters if you're watching, yeah, great club. So yeah, hopefully he gets a few games, and yeah, picking him at the moment. And Van Ruin has been very impressive in the VFL last year. So this is the team so far in, well, what is the 1st of February 2023, and coming in at round 1. Haven't left myself much room, 3.2k. So yeah, we're going all in. We're using all of our money. I don't care. 36 trades. I said it before. I'll say it again. I think this is the year where we can really take some serious risks. And if they don't work, I mean, bloody hell, if Salem turns out to be a shit pick, it doesn't matter. We just bloody downgrade him to a Caulfield, or there's Hunter Clark. There's so many options down there. So it's as easy as a correction trade, honestly. And he's probably the most expensive mid-pricer, if you can even call him that, at 390k. So look, I'm happy to take some risks this year, and I think everyone needs to. If you want to win and have a good rank in Supercoach this year, I think the guns and rookies approach is almost dead, especially with 36 trades. So look, it's a little bit of a aggressive tactic, but I'm happy to sort of roll the dice. And also, I will touch on Tom Mitchell. He's not in my team at the moment. He's a player that I just don't think you can have Green and Mitchell in the same team. You can, but you want a thick midfield. You don't want them to have a shit average and then be stuck with them at M7 and M8 if they're not really going that well. I did it last year. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, he was maybe it was like Jack Steele or something like that who was really struggling. But I had a pretty ordinary M8, and it costed me. I think it's risky, but at the moment I like Green a little bit more than Mitchell. But yeah, I can understand why you would pick Titch. He's someone I'm umming and ahhing about as well. But look, I'll leave it here, guys. Look, hope your team's looking really nice, and let me know if there's anything you would change in this team or any advice. I'm happy to take it from anyone. And yeah, it's great to be back. I can't wait for this year. What a season this is going to be. I can't wait to rip in a saw play again. We've got some really interesting ideas with myself and DR. We get some guests on every single week and do the old segments that we used to do back in the day in 2021. And yeah, I'll get the rookie reviews firing up again. And yeah, we'll be back in business before you know it. But look, I'll end it there, guys. I'll leave it here. Take it easy. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Catch you later, legends.